Hello, my YouTube friends. I hope you're all doing well. Today is April 8th. Today I'm going to talk about 4 stocks that I feel like you could buy today if you wanted to. So stick around and we'll get into those. I hope you find it interesting. I hope your day is going well. And before I get into those 4 stocks that I'm going to talk about, do me a favor if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, make some comments. Tell me what you guys think. Do you like the stocks I'm talking about? Do you guys have ones that you like? I love how I've seen the market doing today as we're waiting for CPI to come out on Wednesday. Um, Really, with the bond market having a rough day and dropping. Hopefully, it's a little windy out here. I'm hoping this little thing doesn't fall. With the bond market having a rough day, I'm a little surprised the stocks have held up the way that they have. And I'm really shocked. I mean, I guess maybe it's inflationary, but Bitcoin is surging and gold is going up again like a rocket, which is really amazing to watch. I hope you guys are well diversified. As I always say, though, keep in mind this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. You guys need to do your own financial research and decide what makes sense for you. Because honestly, what works for me may not be what works for you. I'm just a guy on YouTube sharing what works for me. And I'm sure there's people all different ages watching this, and depending on how old you are and the position you're in, really there might be things you should be looking at that aren't what I do. So I hope you just find the information entertaining. I hope you like the stuff I talk about. And again, chime in, like, subscribe, and let me know what you think. So the first stock I'm going to talk about today is Enphase. Now, I don't know a ton about Enphase, but what I like about them is similar to what Meta had done a few years ago. The stock fell from like 300 and change a share down to below $100 a share. Well, I had solar put in my house recently, and pretty much every company I talked to went on and on about how Enphase has the best products available. I ended up not using them because when I still talked to somebody who seemed well educated in it, the other products work for a really long time or are good as well, but end phases are supposed to be the best. Well, I heard this from 4 different companies. And my thought is that's 4 different companies all in the industry talking about how they make the best product out there. So there must be something really good about Enphase. Solar in general has had a rough go. There's, I guess, concerns about whether the government funding continues to help grow these companies. But if I can buy the best company out there at a discounted price, I see that as a good opportunity. Now, it's trading around $114 a share today. And again, not financial advice, just the way I think of it. When I see a company I want to own that's discounted, I don't mind buying some here and then dollar cost averaging into it if it continues lower. Now, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it just has a rough go, but it seems to be bouncing somewhere between 106, maybe $107 a share, up to like $135 a share of recent. I hope it consolidates in that range, and then my hope is it breaks out to the upside. We're still on the lower end of that range, which is why I find it attractive here. And I see today as good a time as any to maybe pick a little bit up. And then if it trades down to even a little bit closer to that $105 or $106 level, I see that as even a better opportunity. Also, keep in mind, my time horizon on most picks are like 5, 10, 20 years. Uh, I might change my mind with Enphase just because it's one that I don't follow that closely. Typically I buy big, boring companies like I think of as big and boring, like Amazon or Google or Meta. And really, I have no plans to ever sell those. I'm not sure what I'll do with Enphase, and I'm sure I'll talk about it more in the future depending on how things go. But I see it as a really good opportunity. So, stock number 2 on my list is a dividend stock. And keep in mind, these are in no particular order at all. But the second one I'm going to talk about today is ADM, or Archer Daniels Midland. Now, Archer Daniels Midland had a, a big brouhaha and a bit of a scare with some accounting fraud. Well, to be fair, they were really reasonable about it and addressed it and took the initiative themselves. That scared the market. I'm sure that the big fund managers who don't like any unknown got out of it, which drove that stock price down a good bit. And it got down to like, I want to say it traded as low as maybe $52 a share. And it had traded from, forgive me, the wind started to blow it over. It traded from somewhere as high as like $85 a share, maybe it was like $87 a share, down to below 60. Well, a company like Archer Daniels Midland tends not to have that big of a fluctuation. They pay, I think, a 3% dividend, and they're a fantastic company that's well diversified. Now, I saw it as a great opportunity that they had this scandal and they had that come up about possible, I don't want to call it fraud, that might be a misstatement, but that there was some shenanigans going on with the numbers that they were showing. And when I looked at that specific segment and saw what percentage of the business it drove, it was a rather small percentage of their business. So my thought was, even if they were completely making up the numbers and things were way worse, that it shouldn't impact the stock that much. Now, it's actually had what I would call a V-type bottom for a company like Archer Daniels Midland. It's really rebounded pretty well. Today, it's trading around $63 a share, and similar to Enphase, I wouldn't want to miss it. It's very possible that once this passes, the stock just drifts right back up to those mid 80s and then keeps going because they're a good company. If it turns out that it wasn't that big a deal, you're getting a great bargain on a great company. Now, if it drops back down, of course, I would dollar cost average and continue to buy more unless something comes out that tells me that the company is doing really poorly and I have to change my opinion to where I think, geez, something might really be worse than I expected. I see it as a really good opportunity to get a great company at a discounted price. So number 3 on the list is something I've talked about in a bunch of videos, which is Starbucks. And Starbucks seems to be struggling. It keeps drifting lower and lower. But from my end, that creates a better opportunity to get it at a better and better price. Starbucks is one of those companies to own for 10, 20 years, in my opinion. They pay a dividend. I'm perfectly content getting that in the meantime while I wait it out. And my guess is if I just wait 10 years or 15 years, I'm going to be really happy with how Starbucks has performed. Now, it's been struggling to some degree for the past 2 or 3 years. It really hasn't done a whole lot, but it is trending towards the bottom of that range. It's broken below it a little bit, but they have earnings coming up in a week or two. It might even be 3, forgive me. I just know it's somewhat soon within the next month. And each time they've had their earnings, the earnings have been really good. The stocks tended to go up a good bit on the earnings, and then it seems to drift back down. I'm hoping the same thing, that we see a nice little pop when they report, and maybe they have good news again. Part of what I love about Starbucks is they've done real well through ups and downs. People tend to go there even when they were raising prices, which is why the earnings came out well. The inflation has helped them. They didn't see a lot of fall off on customers. They didn't see purchasing fall. They saw better revenues. They saw better income. And I'm sure if they streamline and figure ways to get more automated, maybe they can even, forgive me, but maybe they need to get rid of some employees to drive those profits higher. Now, they're also one that has a tendency to raise the dividend at a good pace. So while it's not getting some obscene dividend currently, I think we'll see that continue to grow. And again, I think over time, it's just one of those companies that's wonderful to have. And I can see them continuing to expand and do better and better over time. And last but definitely not least is one that I've noticed the price action lately, and I've really liked how it's been behaving, which is Sofi. It's not one I talk about too often, but I think Sofi could really transform that banking industry and stock industry. They have a whole range of products that some of these other companies don't always offer. I know they sell to some of them as well, so they may even make money in places that we don't even recognize. Um, the other thing I like is they finally got net positive on their last earnings report. The stock shot up and then it fell. It's fallen below $7 a share a couple of times. It seems to have solidified there where it doesn't seem to get below that. So I think you have a limited amount of risk to the downside. I'd be careful if it really plunged below that and did it in a way that seems like it broke out. Like maybe if it got down to $6.50 a share and closed there and stayed there for a few days, then I'd start to be concerned that I'm wrong on it. But even today, it's still below $8 a share, and I think at that price, it's really worth the risk reward. I think if they can turn things around and continue to be profitable and actually grow those profits, you might see some real upside and it could really explode. If they could even take some market share from some of the other companies, I opened a small account there and I opened it with my son and I noticed the stuff that they do. They do lending, they do mortgages. That's why I say they really have everything encompassed in the entire the financial uh, sorry, brain fart. But essentially, in all the financial aspects, like anything and everything that you need, you could really do it, SoFi. And since they have access to all your information, they offer fair rates and fair, like whatever it is you're looking to do, it's like they have a good product for you. So I really like SoFi. I think it's one of the great opportunities. And if you hold it for 10 or 20 years, you might really be pleasantly surprised with the type of upside it could bring. It's a new company in a lot of ways. It's finally turning positive. It could really stretch its legs and be one of those big home run type of companies. Like I said, it's not usually one of those that I would pick. I tend to be big and boring and dividend oriented or growth oriented. And I tend not to look for the ones that I think can be a diamond in the rough like that. So once again, if you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, make some comments. Enjoy your day. It's beautiful out here despite the wind. Bye-bye.